Here we go now.
Yeah, here we go now. Oh, that's me. That's me in the background. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. Let me just make sure everything is on and popping. What is going on, guys? Happy Friday. I wanted to get this Real Housewives of Miami recap in and out because I do know we are still waiting to hear the sentencing for Diddy. I did see some breaking news that Diddy had already planned some speaking engagements next week in Miami. Sir, excuse me. So I will be talking about that in a separate video. I mean, of course, keep me abreast of any breaking news while we're talking about Real Housewives of Miami. But I wanted to just at least get this out. If anything, I will talk about it at some particular point. As you know, it's already evening here in Europe. So, so I will try and get to it if I can. I'm sure we will know probably in the next hour or two or three. So stay tuned. And if you miss any of our Diddy coverage, we've been covering Diddy's trial since it began. There is a separate playlist for you guys for even my conversations with Kirsten Brown in regards to it. I definitely need to pick her brain on what will happen today. So don't be surprised if you see us collab very soon to talk about that. So anyway, yes, you're watching two. I won't let that be too distracting to you. I hope everyone's doing well. How would you rate the reunion? This is why I say you can never really know how to feel about these shows because they're so heavily edited. Because in this reunion, we saw so many never before scenes from like the last couple of years and this last season that I was just like, production is not on your side, Guerdy. They are not on your side. I don't know if you thought they were going to be on your side. It was very clear that you felt like you were doing well during this reunion, but based off the edit, which is important for me, I can understand why she might feel that she's doing well because again, we're watching an edited show. We're watching hours of something that's now turned into 3 hours, and not even 3 hours of a 3-part reunion. So it was still an interesting reunion. I will say that. I can imagine that some of you are probably very frustrated watching this, especially with the way certain questions were handled, with the way you're already seeing cliques of people that obviously this is what they do before reunion, saying that they meet up probably. They probably had a meeting before the reunion and they probably were like, well, this is what we need to do. We're going to bring up this, and this. You jump in for this. You jump in for that. You could tell which side actually did that and which side probably needed to do that. And Guerdy, because you know I'm a straight shooter, pow, pow, pow. You came in there, and I already know, Guerdy, again, language barriers, a lot of them have that on this cast. You are not able to articulate yourself well enough to get the point across because we watched the same season. We all had our thoughts and opinions over the last couple of weeks on how this season played out and how they could have handled these conversations and situations a lot better. And I just felt like Guerdy was not able to drive that point home to the point where Adriana is trying to help her. And she is like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you're not a united front here. You can tell that you guys are not a united front. And you're not being clear. You're not getting to the point. You're saying that the audience already knows about the text messages. No, they don't. We did not see the text messages. We did not see it. Luckily for you, I got my hands on what was on the text messages because, you know, I got sources that were there. I had sources that were actually at this event, and they took pictures of the text messages. Ooh. But we read them. We talked about it during our recap. Guerdy, you should have either brought a poster board or at least exactly what Adriana said. You need to summarize basically what was said. And what was said in the text messages basically proved your point that Julia was pulling, that she had begged you to come on this cruise 2 years ago. Adriana was trying to help you, and you kept on trying to shut her up, and that was not what you should have done. You should have listened to her, because the way that the edit came out, it was like the audience gets where you're going at. I think there were things that she wanted to bring up when it comes to the way that she was being depicted and the way that they treat her versus how they treat other people, especially as a Black woman, and the microaggressions. You saw how they breezed over that. I expected them to breeze over that. I didn't want them to breeze over that, but I knew that they were going to breeze over that because you have Andy Cohen, the white man, as the overlord that is ill-equipped to handle those kind of ill-equipped to handle those types of conversations. They do, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at that at all. I almost expected that. Almost 90, like I would have been shocked if they had handled it properly. I would have been pleasantly shocked. Exactly. Angel says, I don't know why Guerdy thought the details weren't important. They were very important because we all changed our mind when I read the text message to the audience. We were like, oh, we again, there were long text messages, but when you read them, you're like, oh. Julia, just because you say sorry to someone doesn't wash away what you've done. The best apology is changed behavior. Point blank, period. She was on an apology tour this entire reunion, but you know what? Why she sat there quiet, looking real less than smart? She knew they planned this. She knew that Larsa annoyed the hell out of me. Anyone else? Larsa annoyed the hell out of me because clearly they used her as the bulldog for all of them. Because she was like, oh, and they're bringing up stuff that happened. Guerdy didn't step up for me. The producers are bringing in footage of when Julia tried to pour the ice on Marisol, and then they have an arrow of Guerdy walking away. Guerdy looked like she was running away, actually, in fear of like, what is happening here? I don't want any involvement in physicality. Are we going to be mad at her for that? I'm sure she also wasn't condoning or making excuses for Julia's behavior back then. Like what is the equivalency here that we're trying to do? But you saw it, but pay attention to these never seen before scenes that the production is bringing out with the whole pink arrow on Guerdy stepping away from Julia point. No, the focus here should be on Julia. This is her third time. This is Julia's third time being physical with someone on this cast. 3 strikes and you're out. That's the way it should be. But that's me. But Larsa worked my nerves during this reunion. She really worked my nerves. But we're going to start from the beginning, guys. If you're just joining us, this is our recap of the Real Housewives of Miami. We are keeping an eye out on the Diddy stuff. Of course, keep me updated in the chat, but I much prefer just talk about Real Housewives of Miami, and I will do a separate video talking about Diddy and everything that's coming out in regards to that. So let's just start from the top. And if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It is a members only live chat because, you know, we do this at least once a month. Members, I would probably also do like a members only informal live. I don't know if it'll be today, maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday. I don't know. But thank you so much for being members. So become a member today at teamkempire.com/join. I do want to also say thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Tania, for becoming a member. We appreciate your support. Alexia, thank you so much for becoming a member as well. Thank you so much for your support. And Rusty, thank you so much for becoming a member as well. We appreciate your support. Vanessa says, Kemp, you better get on right now. Is that a threat, Vanessa? Are you threatening me? Luckily, you put in a super chat, so I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad because you put it in a super chat. You gave me some coins. I guess I can go buy, how much was that? Look, how much was that? I don't know if I could buy anything. I can go get me a bottle of water. I don't even know if a bottle of water is that much. All right. I want to stay hydrated. Okay. Chef Lorraine says that Larsa gets on my nerves all the time. I have to say, especially though during the reunion, she got on my nerves even more. Because I was just like, but then again, when you're looking at this play out, it was very clear that they had a plan. Which I'm not against them having a plan, because you see on the other side, when you don't have a plan, what it looks like. You're not able to get your point across. You're stumbling over your words. Things are not clear. You start looking like, okay, so what were you mad about? I do appreciate at one particular point, Andy does defend Guerdy talking about what's playing out in the episodes. That is what they're paid to do. They're not supposed to get ahead of the. Guerdy could not go on Entertainment Tonight and be like, yeah, we had some bad things during the season, but we're all good now. Production, Andy Cohen, they don't want them doing that. They want people to think that the drama is still ongoing until the drama is over. So that's been happening in Housewives for years. So I'm glad at least Andy said that particular point. We'll get to that in a second. At the top of the reunion, we see everyone arriving. Great. Julia is backstage getting her makeup done, and she starts crying already because she's been getting so much backlash on social media. Here's the thing. Here we do not condone bullying of any kind, okay? So we're not condoning people bullying her on social media or anything like that. However, you did something horrific, and this is your third time doing it to a different cast member. You just never got backlash the way that you got backlash this time around. That is the thing. And we do end up seeing footage later on during the reunion where it does seem as though Larsa and I think Alexia, Marisol say to Julia, you can't be doing that. You can't be, throwing water and tossing water and doing things like that. So this is why I always tell you, you're watching an edited show, because that is context that was important, because we all were watching it like, you guys, even though I still don't, please understand. Yes, in that moment, they did speak up and they said something. However, we have talked about the countless examples of how they just don't see it for Guerdy. Guerdy's recovering from cancer. They want to take Alexia to Spain because she's going through a divorce. Oh, but we also have a friend that just went through cancer. Have we done anything to celebrate her and her recovery? Have we? I'll wait. Have we? Y'all let me know. Have they done anything as a cast after Guerdy beat cancer? Did they do? Was it offline? Maybe it wasn't on camera. I'm want to wait and hear. Mr. Melon Magic says, I wish Julia did that to Portia. Oh, I got some information about the new season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I haven't done a video talking about Portia and Simon. I've been meaning, here's the thing. Like, I see stories while I'm, traveling and doing tours and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I'll save it. I'll talk about that later. But then, later goes. So I might do a TikTok or something and talk about it. But stay tuned. But I got some tea on Portia. But maybe I'll wait on the tea in regards to Portia. Portia, girl, you got me blocked. But that don't mean my sources are. This is going to be an interesting new season, Portia. It's a whole new Portia. All right. Okay. Moving on up. Guys, if you're just joining us, be sure to like the video. It's easy and free way of supporting the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, shout out to our King's Guards. Guys, don't forget to say hello and thank you to them. Ariana, thank you so much for being a member for 27 months. Ariana says, when Larsa said bully, I said, oh, this is what we doing? She was being the bulldog for them. Y'all don't realize that? That's exactly what it was giving for me. Kendra, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, Kendra, I might be able to get me 2 water bottles. Thank you. Appreciate you. Kendra says, this was Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They wanted Guerdy gone like Dr. Nicole. Andrew will never protect, Andy, will never protect Black women. He just acts aloof. He really does act aloof because if anything, you should have read the text messages. The text messages Guerdy sent. This is part of your job as the moderator. Or you could ask production to get you the text messages. Or you could be like, well, let's see the text messages. And okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. But thank you so much, Kendra, for the super chat. We appreciate your support. All right. Okay, so Julia's backstage and she's crying. She's getting her makeup done and she's just like, I'm getting bullied online. I'm getting so much backlash. Marisol and Alexia come in. They're like, what's wrong? And Julia's just, oh, I just wanted you. She is such a lapdog. We thought Shamia was a lapdog. Oh, no. Julia said, hold my chain. hold my dog collar. She's crying. They come in and like, oh, what's up? They clear. And I believe, again, Ariana's not always right. Adriana's not always right. However, pay attention to when Adriana says something, and she said it during this reunion. She said she was actually okay with Julia becoming friends with Alexia. It's when Julia started becoming close with Marisol that Julia started changing. I believe that. Marisol, you can throw your rocks and hide your hand. I see right through you. You really try to act as if you are hands off. You got no involvement and blah, blah, blah. But remember, she worked in PR. She knows what she's doing, but she's not that good. That's why she's no longer in it. Because she's not that old. She can still be doing PR. Okay? Just saying. Miss Mellon Magic says Ariana isn't either. You know what? I'm best. Okay. So anyway. So Julia sees them and she's just, I just wanted you. Really? Okay. That lands a little bit differently when you see how part 1 of the Real Housewives of Miami reunion ends. Okay. So Adriana comes out with her dog Basquiat. She comes out with her dog Basquiat. And Adriana, I have to say this though, because I'm a truth teller. It doesn't land for me, especially after the whole Kiki of it all, and you saying black girl to black girl, and your dog is named Basquiat, a late black artist, black and Latino artist. But anyway, just I know probably your intention was to be, honoring because you love your dog. I love my dog. I love my dog. I love my dog. Okay. But I'm just saying, it just lands a little differently after the last couple of weeks. Okay. So she brings her dog out. Honestly, I thought this would have been a cute touch, having the dog there. But I also understand from the production side, what if the dog starts barking and starts running around? So they were like, it's going to be too chaotic. Please get the dog off the set. I thought it was cute, though, when she first came out with the dog. I think they should have just kept the dog out there. And the minute the dog started acting fussy or barked, then, okay, we got to get rid of the dog. But I get it. It could be a hazard. I don't know if Basquiat is a barker or not. Oh, but he does like to hump legs. So yeah, that might not be a good. that might not be the right thing to do. Right? Right. All right. So everyone's coming out. Everyone's sitting down. Notice, again, they do things very differently for Real Housewives of Miami. Everyone comes out at the same time. The friend does. All of them come out. But remember, there's 3 friend does. This is why I say Miami is not like the other shows or like the other cities. The friend doves are very important. Hold on, y'all. Let me turn my notification. I did have my notifications off. So why is this thing going off? I don't know why it's doing that, y'all. My notifications are off. Oh, maybe because I have my thing open. I need to turn that off. Sorry, y'all. You know, I'm more professional than that. But you know, I'm on vacation. But I did turn it off. But anyway. So so everyone comes out, including the friend does. Alexia then talks about the situation with her and Todd. Y'all notice the difference in regards to how she was talking about Todd during the season and most recently on Watch What Happens Live? Before, it was all about Todd and like, yes, you know, we're having a difficult time, but you know, we're still dating. Da, da. But you remember, we did a separate video, and that 10-minute video that Todd put out, which it's worth listening to because I broke it down for you. And it's important to notice how she's made a 180 when it comes to Todd. You notice it during the reunion. You notice how she's like, I removed Napola from my Instagram. She's like, you know, I never really connected with Napola. Remember in the video, he basically says that she chose this reality show over their relationship. Remember, before they got married, yes, they were married for 2 years. They were together for several years before they actually got married. It wasn't until she started back on this show that they started having problems. He claims, and I'm not saying what Todd is saying is 100% the truth, but based off how she's moved during this last year, says to me, I'm probably more in favor of believing Todd than Alexia. Because you see how she was spinning. She was like, you know, I never really connected with that name. What? And she says that Todd never really supported her being on the show. He would get in arguments with her before the reunion. Marisol's chiming in. Like, now Marisol feels free to chime in because she knows that it's completely over. And she's like, yeah, they would be in fights. He's not there. And you know, when you're going through something like this, you need to have someone supporting you, you know, like her lavender husband. You need to have someone supporting you. Okay. All right. So Alexia then, but here was the cherry on top for me. Alexia then admits that the narcissist party was about Todd. And remember, Stephanie kept on saying, oh, it's about Todd, it's about Todd. She's like, no, it's not about Todd. It's not about Todd. Now, all of a sudden, after the divorce is finalized, they're probably finally broken up. Maybe he's not paying that rent anymore after he dropped that video. Maybe he's not paying the rent anymore. So she's probably like, well, yeah, the party was about him. Girl, the party was always about him. Okay? The party was always about him. But anyway, so they start off early. I was actually surprised. Were you guys surprised? They start off early. Sidebar, Stephanie, you sitting next to Andy. I keep saying, I think the only reason why Stephanie sat next to Andy was for practical reasons. They wanted Alexia to sit next to Andy. And if you see the lineup, everyone is sitting across from each other that have issues with each other. That's the only reason why, because just based off of Stephanie's package, it was sort of like, why is Stephanie there? She barely chimed in. When they went through her pack, matter of fact, let's go through her package now because I have nothing to say beyond. She talked about the fans reacting to her and her just talking about her wealth all the time. And then her analogy was, well, when a football player wins the Super Bowl, doesn't he wear a ring? So she's comparing her marriage and her money as her winning the Super Bowl, or basically winning the jackpot. Okay. So she says, you know, this is her way of celebrating it. Okay. All right, Stephanie. Stephanie also says that she's never, because you remember the Reddit streets were saying that she used to work for Masood's wife. She stole Masood. Stephanie basically says she's never met Masood's wife. Adriana brings up randomly they were having lunch and Masood's wife was there, but she never went up to her because they've actually never met. And she also revealed that when she was dating Masood, he was still married, but they were separated. He had been separated for about 8 years before he finalized his divorce. But damn, I just wish they would have went in on the other stuff in regards to what about the daughters and what about, there's rumors about the daughters and are suing their father. Is any truth to that? What about when they were talking about that Stephanie changed her last name to Masood's last name before he actually got divorced? How'd that work? But of course, they never asked any of that. That would have made her segment a little bit more interesting, but here we are. That's why I'm going over her particular section now, because nothing else do we need to talk about. All right. She does say that she loves all the girls. She says she's loved this experience. She still hasn't talked to her sisters, even though they say at the end of at the finale that she's talking to at least one of the sisters. During the reunion, I'm guessing they're not talking anymore, because she's like, yeah, I'm not talking to them, and she's hoping that they watch the show. She doesn't know if they're watching the show, because then she will understand that they're not the only ones that have the same issues with her. Okay, I don't know if that means anything. If anything, that means maybe you need to work on yourself. But okay. So she says that she actually, after this experience, really loves everyone there. Okay, Stephanie, girl, why are you here? She barely chimed in during the reunion. It's like, why are you here? Why are you here? But okay. Was there any non-factors that I wanted to talk about? No. Okay, so we can go back. We can go back to Guerdy's package. So let's go to Guerdy's package. There's a lot to unpack when it comes to this. This was the larger part of the reunion. So Alexia, apparently, is the spokesperson here, because why was Alexia the first person to speak in regards to the water toss? Did anyone else be like? Again, it feels like production. It feels like the women on that side of the couch all plotted and planned this, and production was all about it. Because why was Alexia the first person? Like, she's the spokesperson here. Julia should be speaking for herself. Julia should be the one starting off this conversation, not Alexia. Alexia can chime in regards to, like, maybe we should did more, maybe I should have said more. Well, that's what she says. She's like, and honestly, Andy says that was an apology. Is that an apology? I don't know. I was a little sort of like, because even when he asked, "Do you accept Alexia's apology?" Guerdy's like, "What apology?" And everyone was like, "Well, she said." That to me is not an apology. That to me is her now feeling like, "Oh, I should have said more." That's not an apology to me. You're saying to Andy, like, I should have, now I look back at it, I should have done more. There's no excuse that no one didn't stick up for Guerdy. She should have said to Guerdy, I apologize for not doing more. You made a general statement. It didn't feel like an apology to me. Q Potato on Twitch. Shout out to our Twitch fan. Foxy said it was a BS apology. Q Potato says, Julia crying really, really irritated me. I needed you, cringe. I know, at the beginning. Coco says, it's like he was saying, hurry up and get right. That's what that segment, Guerdy segment, felt like. Because even at the end of their conversation of Julia and Kiki, Julia and Guerdy's conversation, Andy was like, it doesn't look like we're going to get anywhere with this today. Huh? This is why people criticize you, Andy, as a reunion host. And I get it. Sometimes the back and forth becomes like, okay, we're not going to get anywhere with this. But this was such a serious and a large part of the season. I know by the end of the season, they were in a better place, but this was a large part of the season. This is a reminder that the network, Andy Cohen, these production companies don't care about Black women, but don't care about how you feel and how you can be triggered by what you're watching on this show. Because we saw this with the colorism conversation and the bullying conversation when it comes to Real Housewives of Potomac, and how they breezed over that as a company, as a network. And it did feel like Andy was sort of like, let's without him saying it, the energy felt like, oh yeah, let's just get over this. And then when it felt like it didn't get to the place where he wanted, he's like, I guess we're just not going to get anywhere with this. Okay. Miss Porter says Andy's never going to beat the microaggression accusations. There were definitely micro and macro microaggressions this season. Okay. Dear Yvette, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate your support. Thank you. Jax, thank you so much for becoming, for being a member for 39 months. Oh, I think that's like I think we had someone in 40 something months, but thank you so much, Jax, for being a member for that long. Happy October, Kemp, 39 months and still watching. Thank you. Appreciate you. Okay. And Kitty, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate your support. Meow, meow. Scorpio Moon Girl, thank you so much for being a member for 15 months. Love this community. Bye, Julia. Oh my gosh. Kendra, thank you so much for another super chat. Kendra says Marisol could have stayed home with her fake husband. I mean, she still brought more than Stephanie did. Still brought more than what Stephanie did. I was like, what's Stephanie doing here? Okay. Kalab says, but he liked to sit with black boys in the club. I don't get it. Oh, you don't get the fetishization of it all? Just saying. Because you notice he's never settled down. He might be in the club twiddling nipples and whatnot, but he hasn't settled down or dated one or brought one out on a red carpet anywhere. Just saying. But he will be hemmed up with his own radio show with his ex-boyfriend. That's not a black boy. Oh, see, this is why you're blocked. This is why you're not going to be the bar. Not that I want to be. Like I said, I've had people that were like, well, we could probably get you on and do this or do that. I was like, no, I'm good. Coco says, honestly, Stephanie can hand in her working papers. Thank you for your services. Damn. I think you mean her resignation? Her resignation letter? All right. Mr. Mellon says, that's why I said, Kev, be careful. He might be trying to slide in your DM. No, I'm blocked, so which is good. That means he can't DM me. I can't DM him. Not that I would. Asa says that Julia needs to be gone. Mandy says Stephanie's plane should have been there instead of her. It had more action this season. All right, let me get to this. Let me get to these other elements, guys. I'll get back to your comments in just a second. We're talking about the Real Housewives of Miami Part 1 of their Season 7 reunion. So Alexia starts off this conversation after Guerdy's package, and she's talking about that he should have done more, that there was no excuse that they didn't stick up for her. Larsa starts barking. That's the way it felt. I'm just being honest with you. It felt like she was just barking. Okay. So she tries to make an excuse and says that Guerdy didn't do anything when Adriana threw a glass at her. Adriana, whatever glass that Adriana threw, okay, went past Larsa. Not saying that Adriana should have thrown it. She shouldn't have. But them trying to equate what happened to Guerdy, where Guerdy's sitting there drenched, and we see 11 minutes later them basically talking about why Guerdy's alienated from the rest of the group because she put all her eggs in one basket, the Dr. Nicole basket. So we're like, okay, so is that an excuse? Are you guys justifying that you guys have alienated her from the rest of the group? Because she was friends with Dr. Nicole. So it's very clear. If Dr. Nicole was still there, we probably would see a very different group dynamic. But I think Guerdy never fit in with these ladies. Okay. So Larsa tries to make excuses in regards to that. They bring up all these different examples. Marisol says, you didn't do anything when she tried to pour the ice water on me. So they bring up all these excuses as to why it was okay for them not to defend Guerdy. Okay. All right, ladies. So, and then Larsa also claims that everyone got soaked. Yet we only see a picture of Guerdy with water all over her. We also saw the footage. And even Lisa chimes in, even though Lisa wasn't there, she's like, no, she was directing that water at Guerdy. You may have gotten splashed on a little bit, but you guys were not soaked like Guerdy was soaked. Okay. So Andy asked Guerdy if she accepts Alexia's apology. And Guerdy's like, what apology? And my question was that an apology? I will let you guys let me know in the live chat. Was that an apology? Okay. Alexia starts, and the other part, my thing is too, even if you say, I am sorry, if you start justifying it by bringing up other examples, how people in this group have thrown things, to me, it dilutes the apology you just gave. because now you're making excuses for other things that people have done in the group. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of the reason why Guerdy was sort of like, she did say that she was coming into the reunion so she can listen more. But she was just like, I didn't catch the apology. She probably was waiting for Alexia to be like, Guerdy, I'm sorry, I should have done more. No, but you were making a general statement to the group and to Andy Cohen. You didn't direct this towards Guerdy. And I don't know if you reached out to Guerdy. I will give Alexia credit, though. She was the only one in interviews during the season sort of backtracking on what played out during the season, even though it felt like damage control instead of actually a genuine, like, I should have done more. I think the problem was that people were lighting them up in their comment section. All of them were getting lit up in the comment section after that scene with Julia and Guerdy. So Alexia then starts giving examples of how other people have thrown things in the group. Marisol's chiming in. You didn't have my back then. Kiki decides to have her moment. Hey, Kiki, I know you're still watching, girl. And Kiki brings up that Guerdy insinuated that she was racist and making it seem, I guess Guerdy may have said this in an interview where the way that Kiki was pulling her away was almost like she was making her out to be the angry Black woman. Here's the thing. Guerdy did say that because that was in the interview. They showed the interview. But again, I don't think Guerdy is able to explain herself in a way that people really understand. Pulling her away. You see in that moment, Guerdy literally say to Kiki, I'm not that person. Because that's the way Guerdy took it in that moment. She took it like, why are you pulling me away? Like I'm doing something. She's like, I'm not that person. So when they show it again, I get where Guerdy is sort of like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have to pull me away. I'm not going to hit her. I'm not going to splash her. I'm not going to do anything. So I get why she might believe, like, I don't know why she was pulling me away. It made it seem like I was going to be like this angry Black woman. They also need to understand the difference between racists and stereotypes and things like that. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. Thank you so much, Kendra, for thank you, Kendra. Let me just shimmy for Kendra. Thank you, Kendra. Kendra's gonna buy my dinner tonight. Kendra, what should I have for dinner tonight? Kendra, thank you so much for the super chat. Kendra says, pay attention to Andy. If Guerdy doesn't come back, he will release some fake statement he did when Garcelle left. Kiki, those ladies will do you the same way. Sidebar, the skin is glowing count. Oh, thank you. I did my butter skincare routine. This is all butter. I got my vitamin C and my moisturizer on. Go check out my TikTok shop, because that's where it's available right now. I'm still working on a discount code from our friends over at Butter for our YouTube channel. So for those that are listening on the podcast as well, stay tuned. I will definitely get that to you guys, hopefully very soon. And we're going to collaborate again next month with Butter to get you some more giveaways and discounts for another online shopping event. So if you missed the last one, you're not going to want to miss the holiday one that we're going to do. All right, keep liking the video if you haven't already. Mods, can you let me know how many likes we've reached so far for our Real Housewives of Miami season 7 reunion? Oh, I already see it. Never mind. Thank you, Foxy. I just saw you were thinking we're vibing, Foxy. Foxy says soon 300 likes. Thank you, and please keep on liking the video, everyone. Hold on. April says I bought my husband his butter skincare. Love it. Thank you so much, April. I do think it's a great gift, especially if your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, they have no skincare routine and you want them to start. That's a good place to start. And the last time I checked, I don't know if the deal is still going on TikTok. Go to my TikTok shop. The Silky Soft towels, they were like 3 for $18, which is super cheap. Super cheap. So go check my TikTok shop now, just in case. Okay. Wait, hold on. Paula says, FYI, I just found out Peacock is free via Instacart, so I can save the $19. What you mean, Paula? You know we like a deal. What you mean? I need to be getting it for free. Even though I'm not watching it via Peacock right now, I'm watching it via HeyYou. And I am in the middle of watching Real Housewives of London. I'm hoping during this trip I'll get through all the episodes. It's not that many episodes. So I'm hoping to get through all the episodes. I mean, they're giving Beverly Hills. Like, they're giving real money, y'all. Because I know a lot of you like that. Assets, if you go to my profile, you don't see it. You don't see the TikTok shop in my profile at TheKempire. Angel says, I'm going to get butter for my ex-husband, baby daddy. Oh, y'all in a good place? You gonna be buying him gifts, Angel? Okay. That's good, though. Look, that's good. Angel says, my Peacock Premium is free with my Wi-Fi provider. And Peacock just announced that they're raising the price. J Poo says, if you have Xfinity, Peacock is free streaming. Xfinity gives y'all a lot of stuff. Is Xfinity in New York? I feel like they never offer that to me. I also don't think my building offers that, Xfinity. So I don't think I could get it anyway. Okay, Kitty says, just activated Peacock through Instacart. Thank you. What? Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, Paolo with the T. Angel says, Kemp, I told you we need to do a dating live update. Oh my God. We sure do. When I get back, which won't be for a while. Bloop. All right. Keep liking the video if you guys haven't already. We're talking about the Real Housewives of Miami. I'm getting so sidetracked. Hey, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate your support. All right, let's get to what else happens in this moment. So Kiki brings that up to Guerdy for insinuating that she was racist and that she was making her seem like an angry Black woman. Guerdy is like, I don't remember saying that or insinuating something like that, because she just seems confused at that moment. So Kiki, you got your moment. Okay. I don't feel like we had any resolution to your moment, but again, I feel like I'm doing a better job of explaining what happened during the season than Guerdy did at this reunion. But we have to remember, the reunion is like their Super Bowl. After the reunion, this is when the network decides who they're going to offer contracts to. I know there are rumors out there that certain people have been fired. Don't believe those rumors. Okay. I feel like that's Housewives putting that out there. All right. Alexia says that Guerdy went to social media after things seemed to be in a good place. By the end of the season, you saw that Guerdy and Julia were in a good place. And as soon as I'm hearing Alexia talk about this, but I'm thinking to myself, like, we understand Housewives now. This is not our first rodeo when it comes to Housewives. A lot of times, even if they're good by the end of the season, when the season starts playing out, sometimes new emotions arise based off of what they're seeing. And again, I don't know if Guerdy said this during the reunion and it was edited out. My thing is, new emotions arise when you're starting to see the full context of what people are saying in their confessionals and what they've said to other people. So she could change her feelings on Julia based off of what she's seen Julia say in other scenes, but also seeing what Julia is saying on social media. You saw what Julia said after the splash, what she said on social media. She's like, I forgot. I can't remember. I don't remember what she said verbatim. Again, we've recapped this show and I've talked about it before, but she wasn't very apologetic or empathetic after the toss, or should I say the assault? Because that's what they called it in the water toss. That's what they're calling it, the water toss. That's what production's calling it. Of course, they're not going to call it assault. That puts them in a legal liability. I get it. I'm not dumb. I just got to tell you. Okay. So Alexia says that, but Andy, I will give him credit here. Andy does say that maybe she's just reacting to the episode. Okay. So then they end up playing some never before seen footage. They bring up Dr. Nicole and how Guerdy was sort of disconnected from the group. They said that she put all her eggs in one basket. This was literally 11 minutes after the water toss. And we're seeing the women basically, because Guerdy says that they were bullying her. The women are reacting to like, well, you put all your eggs in Dr. Nicole's basket. Now you feel alienated from the rest of the group. I'm paraphrasing. Okay. Then they end up showing never before seen footage from 2023 when Julia had some sort of breakdown at the Mamacita party towards Marisol. And apparently she broke glass and she broke a chair. And they remember, we never saw this. So Julia has a problem. Okay. This is another time that we're seeing her become unhinged. Okay. And that's what Guerdy says to her when Julia tries to explain her behavior. And she's like, I don't know what, I didn't know what I was doing, blah, blah, blah. And, I was drinking. And Grace's like, she's like, that's scary. And she's like, what's scary? I think, that's just me. That is scary. That's scary behavior that you can become unhinged and you might just throw something. Her banging that chair, I was like, what is going on? I don't even remember why you might have been upset, but like, what are you doing? Julia only responds, she's like, I did not break a glass. Okay, girl. The way you were swinging that chair, you could have broke a glass and you probably didn't realize it. Just saying. Having a little fit. That's what she did. So Julia does apologize again to Guerdy. But here's the thing. When someone apologizes, but then emphasizes, I'm going to apologize to you maybe for the 6th time, does that apology feel sincere to anyone? If someone has to remind you, this is my 10th apology to you again. Excuse me? Coco says my 3-year-old controls her emotions better than that. Pageant Mommy says it is insincere, especially the amount of times that she had to emphasize the amount of times she's apologized. I could never see it for Julia, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I would never see it for Julia. But that's me. You already know how I feel about Julia. Julia does not need to come back. So Julia does apologize to Guerdy again, but Guerdy says that this is Julia's 3rd time acting out. But she's like, this is my 1st time with you. Yeah, but girl, but you have a pattern. You have a pattern of being physical with your castmates. And Bravo, you remember the last time you ignored someone being physical with a castmate. Okay. Julia apologizes. As I said before, she apologized to Guerdy, but Guerdy says this is the 3rd time that you've done it. Then they show Never, because Marisol wants to chime in, and she's like, again, remember Marisol, the PR, she's been on the show for a very long time. Apparently, there was some footage, and because she's like, I was mic'd. I'm sure you were mic'd. And we see her go into the bathroom with Julia, and she says, you can't throw water. You shouldn't do that. We can't do that on this show. And Julia's just like, I didn't do this for the show. So you just did it because you're angry and you have a temper problem? Okay. Her new sons probably have a better emotion control than she does. Because if that's the way you're acting and you have 2 young boys, that's scary to me. That's scary to me. So she says that Julia's 3rd time, this is her 3rd time acting out. We see footage of Marisol having this conversation where Julia breaks down and is crying. We hear them talking. Then Marisol and Larsa, apparently, we do see some never before seen footage, which does change the context of the situation, because the way that they showed us in the original, I think they're doing damage control production as well, because they left out the fact that, because I don't think they thought that the fans were going to see the scene and be like, why is it that everyone's turning on Guerdy and she was just drenched and assaulted with water by one of the castmates and no one said anything? So they wanted to make sure during reunion that they show that Larsa and Marisol did say something to Julia, which we're going to give them credit for, because we thought that no one said a word. But they're saying that now, but at the same dinner, they were also basically saying that this is why no one likes you, Guerdy. And this is why you're on your own. You don't have any friendships in the group. It's because you put all your eggs in the Dr. Nicole basket. It's important to give you the full picture here of what went down that night. Okay. So then they start talking about Textgate. Guerdy sharing the text messages at her event. And Andy asked her, so what was said in the text message? What did it prove? Did it prove anything at all? And Guerdy is not able to clearly say it. And Adriana is trying to help her in that moment. And she's like, tell her that it proves that she did invite you to the cruise. And Guerdy is just like, no, be quiet. She's like, just to explain what the text message is. And Guerdy's like, the audience knows what to say. No, the audience doesn't know, Guerdy. Like, I was so frustrated with Guerdy in that moment. It's like, Adriana is right. The audience doesn't know. How was the audience supposed to know? They didn't show us the text messages. They only showed us little parts of it. But I told you, we read the text message. Okay? I had sources of someone that was there got a screenshot of those text messages, and we read them during one of our recaps, whatever episode that was. Asa says that, yeah, Guerdy should have prepped better. She should. Foxy says, I felt for Guerdy. Because I think we all understood where she was coming from. Because again, we saw the text message, we read that, but again, as a moderator, even if Andy didn't have the text message in front of him, he could have gotten the text messages. Production could have gotten him the text messages. But again, very much like what Coco said earlier, it felt like he just wanted to move on. And you know what that comes from? That comes from Andy's bored with his job. He won't let anyone else do it. He won't let anyone else moderate. And this is not for the one or two Kempire haters that will watch this, that are watching this from the bushes. Hey, keep watching. Appreciate it. I'm not trying to vie for Andy Cohen's job. The dream I have for myself is far larger than being the reunion host for Real Housewives. And that's no shade. You know, obviously, I love talking about Real Housewives, but please understand my trajectory for myself is much bigger than that. So this is not me trying to vie for the job. Because if I wanted to vie for the job, I know how to shuck and jive. I just choose not to do it at my big age. Kalam says, I have to say, after watching the Garcelle situation, I'll always call a spade, but I refuse to watch another Garcelle situation. I'm 10 toes down behind Guerdy. Love that. Kendra, let me share. Kendra, thank you for our super chats. Kendra says, Julia, hold my hand between two napkins when I say this. You can leave. Save the fake tears, and Larsa, we don't like you either. Oh, she just showed. Larsa literally was the bulldog. Okay. Alexia says, Kendra is paying you rent, Kim. I know. Come on, Kendra. I appreciate it. And I get it. Not everyone can send super chats or anything like that. But what you can do is like the video. What you can do is to tell a friend. You can share the video. All of that helps. Y'all better stop clocking Kendra's coin, okay? Kendra, April says, Kendra, you got paid, huh? No, maybe she just wants to support an independent contractor over here, an entrepreneur. Don't hate on Kendra and her coin. Thank you, Kendra. We appreciate you over here. But I understand that not everyone can be a Kendra, okay? All right. All right. April says, love it. Coco says, hate it. And I hate, well, you're not talking about that. Toya says, it's payday. Kalam says, when I'm in a new tax bracket, I got you. Exactly. Shar says, yes, or become a member too. Or you can become a member. Mary Jane says, come on, independent contractor. Oh, Kendra says, I missed the last 3 lives. Thank you, Kendra. We appreciate you no matter what. You know, you don't have to send super chats. You've been a member for a very long time. You always do send super chats too. So please understand everyone's showing love. Okay, everyone's showing love. Oh, today is a Friday. People did get paid today. So why nobody else throwing the points? Come on now. I'm playing. Calm down, y'all. Candace says, I was so bothered by how Andy handled the Guerdy situation, but I guess I should have expected his non-action. I agree. But again, Andy has gotten so much flack for how he hosts the reunions, but he refuses to give up the chair. He refuses to give up the chair. But okay. So they try to talk about TextGate, and that goes nowhere. And Adriana tries to help Guerdy, but Guerdy does not take the advice. Julia says that Guerdy spoke on the boys changing their names. Remember, someone talked about that during one of our live recaps about Julia changing the boys' names. I don't know the psychology behind it. Julia claims that she spoke to the social worker about it, about changing their names. She was like, they're very young. They're not going to remember. Those boys are not that young. Can we all agree with that? It's not like they're infants. They're old enough to remember and see things. I'm just sort of like, if I was their age, I would remember. So their names weren't Luca and what was the other baby's name? I should have known because I was like, that's not very. I should have known. Because I was like, that's not a very like, not that, we all have different names, but I was just sort of like, oh. But then we can have a larger conversation because if you've been watching our Real Housewives of Miami recaps, I've been telling you I have real concerns about Julia's behavior and the fact that she's raising. Oh, yes, Angel, you're the one who brought it up. Her changing the names, Jackson and Luca, and I was sort of like, I have real concerns with her not seeing her microaggressions towards Guerdy. Because remember, the other aspect of the Guerdy and Julia situation was, and Guerdy did bring this up during the reunion about how she was talking about Guerdy and the inflammatory words that she was using. Remember after the Zoom call, what Martina said. Like there were a lot, but again, Guerdy, you should have come into the reunion with all of these different examples ready to go. Because there were so many examples. And I think that's why people are still riding with you, because we remember, we didn't forget. But when it comes to how it was playing out during the reunion, it didn't land. It didn't land, unfortunately. But we remember. So Julia brings up the fact that Guerdy talked about that. And then Larsa barked and said, oh, we don't talk about kids are off limits. We don't talk about kids. We can say this. You can talk about someone's children without degrading or insulting or attacking the children. What Guerdy said, and they showed it, wasn't like she was attacking the children. And I noticed with Julia, she likes to weaponize those boys against these women, specifically Guerdy and Adriana. She did it in the finale. Remember when Adriana did not come to this special event where the boys weren't even there? The boys weren't attending. It was for a charity event, but the boys weren't there. It wasn't like a moment for her to show up, like it was like their christening or something like that. That wasn't the situation. But she likes to weaponize that and make it seem like, oh, it's against the boys. So Julia says her talking about her renaming the boys, she was getting bullied. I guess she expected Guerdy to be her savior and come out on social media and say, leave Julia alone. Julia, the fans, again, no one's condoning what people might be saying in your comments, but the fans are reacting to your behavior of you assaulting a Black woman on this show. You did. You did. You threw water at her. Not once, but multiple times you threw the water at her until all of it was out of your thing, out of your cup. I love how we're normalizing the word bimbo again. Thank you, K. Michelle. Exactly. Pageant Mommy says her weaponization of those babies is dangerous. Her apparent inability to control her emotions is also very concerning. But okay. And here's the thing. For those that were like, oh, we shouldn't be talking about her as a mother and the adoption and things like that. You decided to make this your storyline. This is a part of your story. We can weigh in if your behavior on this show might be concerning with how you're going to treat these Black boys, because Black children are not protected, especially when they're in the adoption arena. So we are going to point out concerns. Just saying. All right. Let's move on. I'm already getting tired from talking. Lord have mercy. Julia says that Guerdy wants to emphasize, can you confirm that this was not about the cruise? Julia says that their issue wasn't about the cruise. So what was the issue then? If it wasn't about, because then that's the root. No matter how you want to twitch and turn it and make it seem like Guerdy is the problem here, what was your issue with Guerdy then during the season? Why did you splash Guerdy? What was the issue? Was it her not being able to attend the Zoom call, even though she tried to call back in? And then you brought up the cruise from 2023. So what was the issue? Because during the season, you made the cruise the issue. So what was your issue with me? We'll wait. Not for too long, because we won't see you next season. I'm so not interested in Julia next season. All right. Exactly. Coca says, what was the reason? Pageant Mommy says Julia felt Guerdy was an easy target, especially because she's friends with Marisol and Alexia, and they don't like Guerdy. So wouldn't it be shocking to me that they were like concocted some sort of plan for that? Shar says, please tell me what the issue is. April says, no, Julia, you're the problem. Felicia, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate your support. Coffee Cat with Chicago Cat, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate that. Jenny, thank you so much for the super chat. Jenny says, just wanted to contribute. Oh, thank you, Jenny. We appreciate. Wait, is that J Poo? That's J Poo. Hey, J Poo. I can do it for the picture. Tania, thank you so much for the super chat. Tania says, I wish Guerdy had a bulldog like Larsa to help her articulate it better. I will say Adriana was trying to help her, though. Thanks for working while resting. Thank you, Tania. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, guys. And if you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions on part 1 of the Real Housewives of Miami reunion. I am taking. Luckily, today was sort of like a wet day. I did go to the museum today. I do like a good museum. And the great thing about Europe, they love bookstores. Bookstores are still a thing. Department stores are still a thing, but also they love a good museum. They have really great museums. So went to the museum today. I'm gonna try and do another one, but yeah, I can't believe it's Friday already. Lord have mercy. I'm almost here a week. But today was like a rainy, windy day. It stopped raining now though. I don't know if it's windy, but it was definitely rainy today. But then it stopped, and then it was rainy. Welcome to Europe. I see most of Europe is getting that. Candace says that Guerdy needed Dr. Nicole. Well, no, Guerdy's what? They came back in season 4, season 5, season 6, season 7. She's been there 4 seasons. You should be a pro at the reunion at this particular point. This is not your first reunion. But all right. Ariana says, are you going anywhere else in the EU? I am. And who says I was in the EU? I'm playing. If you follow me on Instagram, you know where I am. I just try not to tell everybody where I am, clocking where I am. All right, let's move on because we do have a little bit more to talk about. Let's talk about Lisa, because very much how Andy wanted to move on, because at the end of that segment, Andy basically says, it looks like you guys are not going to get anywhere. Let's move on. Okay. Lisa talks about her package. Andy starts off with, when you guys were talking about AC, were you talking about Andy Cohen? And she was like, haha, yeah, because we think about you all the time. And she's like, no, we were talking about air conditioning. So they breezed over that. I mean, look, I didn't expect them to delve into that, but we already talked about it multiple times, what we think AC is, but whatever. Lisa does reveal that she's in therapy and that it's helped her with her time management. I do believe when someone's chronically late, there's something going on. And I know some of you are chronically late. Check in with your therapist. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But she says that she realized that it's a time management issue for her. Okay. When asked if she's engaged, she's sort of like looking at her hand. Lisa's so awkward. She's like looking at her hand. So like, oh, wait, are you engaged? She's not engaged. They're working on it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's her. I believe, let this be the prediction, that next season she will get engaged. It will be a part of her storyline, but she won't get married anytime soon. Because she already said, I just want to be engaged. I want to be a fiance. I don't want to be a girlfriend. I feel like I'm too old to be a girlfriend. Girl, you can call yourself whatever you want, but you don't need to be getting engaged. You don't need some big fancy rock on your finger to call your relationship whatever you want to call your relationship. You can actually call him your husband if you wanted to. You could even call him your fiance if you wanted to without a ring. It's all up to you. But okay. Anyway, so Lisa says that the divorce changed her and shook her to her core, which I believe. Remember, she was living the lap of luxury. She basically got blindsided during the season from Lenny. She knew Lenny was a dog and probably cheated on her allegedly before. But she was like, I'm still able to live my lap of luxury. I really believe this. This is my opinion. I'm not saying that it's fact. She was living the lap of luxury. She was willing to turn a blind eye to whatever he was doing when he would go upstairs during their multiple parties. And it wasn't until he was like, oh no, I got a new Mrs. Hochstein. So I'm trading you in. I believe that's what happened. And that's what really shook her to her core. She was just like, oh, I'm getting kicked out and he's taking everything. That's my opinion on the situation. Apparently she's trying to manifest an engagement. Whatever. Girl, you don't need to rush into anything. Lisa does reveal that when it comes to the Lenny situation, her divorce from Lenny, she reveals that it is not the greatest right now when it comes to co-parenting with him. Are we surprised by that? No, Lenny's gonna Lenny. Lenny will always be trash. We haven't called him trash for the majority of the season, but we can call him trash with the reunion. Okay. But she seems like she's getting along with his mother better because remember, we've seen multiple pictures with them in the last few months. So that's good. Andy does direct the question of surrogacy to Lisa and says, Martina tweeted about surrogacy, not you can't have everything. So she doesn't approve of surrogacy. We've talked about it. We're not going to continue to talk about it again. And Andy asks Lisa, how do you feel about it? Because her 2 kids were via surrogate. We talked about that too. And I wish Lisa would have said, along with what she said, because Lisa said she was shocked. She couldn't believe it. And she was surprised that, Martina didn't apologize for the tweet. Julia says she took the tweet down. Okay, that's not an apology. That's not an apology, Julian, but she's like, I wholeheartedly disagree with her. That's a very important, value system difference between you and your wife. But okay. I wish Lisa would have said, Andy, how do you feel about it? You have 2 kids via surrogate too. Like, what was your opinion on it? And maybe she did, and they edited it out. But my thing is, I would have asked him, what's your opinion on it? I don't even know when he asked her, Julia, about it on Watch What Happens Live. I don't even think he gave his opinion then. So that's the thing with Andy Cohen. For those that think Andy Cohen is going to stand up for anything, Andy Cohen is going to stand up for his bottom line, and that's his money. So he's going to do whatever the network, especially with his new contract, and everyone is pissed. I see people on X talking about, for Salt Lake City, the Watch What Happens Live episodes messing up the episodes. Now it's like 6 episodes, even though there's only 3 episodes for season of Salt Lake City, because they're pushing these Watch What Happens Live episodes. And I saw Andy retweeted, not retweeted, in his Instagram. Yes, Andy, I still get to see your post on Instagram. On Instagram, basically like, oh, thank you, Peacock, because I think it was Gibson who said, oh, I love the fact that you're including the subsequent Salt Lake City episode with the Watch What Happens Live. So Andy repost that on his Instagram story. It's like, thank you, Peacock. Yes, save our show, because we're not getting the ratings on regular television, and we're not getting the live streaming. And so he basically is poaching from the viewers that watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. A lot of people are watching that. So that's what he's doing. Oh, Pageant Mommy says, values, Kempire, you were adorable. Julia is here for the bag. Y'all like my use of colloquialisms? I love how I was able to still say the word, even though my mouth is dry. Exactly. Everybody on Twitter are talking about it. Pageant Mom says, yes, it's annoying to have Watch What Happens Live on the Salt Lake City lineup. All right. I agree. I've been saying it, but I didn't realize that people were reacting to it on Twitter. And I also didn't pay attention to it this week because I'm watching it on HeyYou, so that didn't happen on HeyYou. But all right, let's move on. So he asked about surrogacy. Julia says she wholeheartedly disagrees with Martina on that. All right. Julia says that Adriana was never in contention to be godmother. They talk about that. Andy brings up the whole godfather, godmother thing. And Julia, without hesitation, was just like, yeah, she was never in contention to be godmother. So Adriana is just like, which is interesting. I wrote 2 character letters when they were doing the home study for Julia and Martina. 2 character letters are very important. And of all the people that you could ask, and Martina knows a lot of people, a lot of famous people. And you're not getting a bunch of, like, I don't know how many letters you would get for something like this. But if Adriana was one of the people that you asked, and I get it, right now you guys are not in the best place, but you say that she was never in contention, that says a lot. But again, I already told you, Julia has no loyalty to anyone but herself. I don't feel like she has loyalty to her daughters because you saw how they feel. Um, no loyalty to Martina. I told you, like, I really feel like Julia is a narcissist, in my opinion. But okay. So she says she was never in contention, despite her writing 2 character letters for the home study. Okay. And apparently, Adriana says that she did ask Julia to be her godmother, the godmother to her dog, Basquiat. So everyone has a good, like, oh my God, what do you mean? A godmother to a dog? Well, she was like, well, God forbid anything happens to me. I want my dog to be taken care of. I mean, that is her baby. Just saying. Here we are. Here we are. All right. Before we move on to the last part of this, because it's only a last few minutes of the reunion where Julia drops the bomb that she and Adriana actually slept together. And they flash back to where Adriana basically threatens her, like, do you want me to break the fourth wall? Julia in the sneak peek basically says she's taking that out of context. That's not what I meant in regards to her spilling some sort of tea about them sleeping together. So when they were in the Hamptons, apparently there must have been some intimate time. If you see the preview, though, Adriana denies it. I would not be shocked that Julia told Marisol and Alexia. Their reaction felt a little over the top. But that's just me. All right. So before we get to that, I am going to drop the call link for members. So if you're a member of the channel, I am going to drop that on the community tab, or the post tab as they call it now. Mods, can you let me know how many likes we have, and I will drop it in the live chat so everyone can call in as well. Let me see. All right, I don't see any update on the Diddy stuff. Did you guys see anything? I mean, I will do a separate video talking about Diddy, but I just wanted to see if there was any finalization. I will do a separate video, though, giving you guys an update on the final decision from the judge. I believe he's going to get time. We did have breaking news. So, guys, once we get to 400 likes, I will drop the call-in link for the general audience. The breaking news was that Diddy already was booking speaking engagements next week in Miami. Of course, they brought this up in court. You know the judge is going to be like, I wouldn't be surprised, though, even if he does get sentenced to multiple years, the prosecution seeking 11 years. I mean, the judge has 20 years to play with here. The judge is not playing. I could see them definitely giving him more than 5 years. Close to maybe like 7 years. I don't see the judge necessarily giving him 20 years, but we can talk about it later once we have a full report. I do want to take some quick calls. Callers, I do not have my timer, so please time yourself. Keep it short, sweet, and cute, okay? But members, I've dropped the call link for you guys. Mods, again, can you just let me know if we've hit 400 likes yet? And let me drink my water. All right. So the end of the reunion is we talked about everything else. We talk about where the friendship between Adriana and Julia changes. And Adriana says that she was fine when Julia became friends with Alexia. We saw it happen last season where they were becoming friendly. Julia said behind the scenes, during the last couple of episodes, the season finale, saying that Adriana was controlling her behind the scenes, bullying her behind the scenes, and she was just sick of it. Okay, I believe that. I do believe that did happen. I'm not going to even act as if I don't believe that didn't happen. But Adriana says that she feels after Julia started becoming friendly with Marisol, that's when Julia changed. I believe that made sense to me. So I feel like Julia went from one puppet master to another puppet master, if we're going to be honest. So Julia decides, Andy, because this felt very planned. She's like, Andy, I just need to reveal something. I slept with Adriana in the Hamptons. So everyone's like, huh? Guerdy's like, huh? Like, huh? I don't believe we get to see a reaction from Adriana in that moment. Besides Adriana just going like, "What?" So apparently something went down. Look, people thought something was going down between them since the reboot started. So I don't know if anyone else wasn't completely shocked. The person here that should probably a little bit more concerned should be Julia because she's the married woman. And based off the preview for next week, it seems as if they were going through a bad time, Martina and her. But it seems like Martina doesn't have an issue with Adriana, because again, this is not the first time where we've sort of alluded that Julia and Martina, I don't know for sure, might have some sort of open relationship. Because remember, Larsa was the one to call Julia out for um, one in Blackpink. So I'm sort of like, Julia, I think Julia gets to do what she wants in that relationship. And Martina just sort of like lets it happen. I mean, they wouldn't be the first, LGBTQ couple that might have an open relationship, but I just don't know if it's open. I don't know if Martina is actually being with other people. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But that's how they end the reunion. We'll have to talk more about it in part 2. Oh, I don't know. All right. Let me say thank you before we get to our callers. Again, keep in mind the opinions of the callers do not represent the opinions of myself, TheKempire LLC, or our sponsors. And everything that they say is of their opinion and alleged. RC, thank you so much for the super chat. So RC says Guinness headquarters in Ireland tour is stellar. I don't drink Guinness, though. I don't drink Guinness. I think that would not be. I don't drink. So shout out to the Guinness family. I learned a lot about them. Just saying. But if you think, even though I don't drink, that would be a beneficial, let me know. But when I looked into it, I was like, yeah, it doesn't sound like it'll be good for me. Angelique, thank you so much for the super chat. Angelique says, follow where you go and comments will travel soon. Wait, UT solo boyfriend advice taken from blah. Angelique, I don't know what you were saying here. I am so confused by that. But thank you for the super chat. Rosa says, Julia, thank you for super chat, Rosa. Rosa says, Julia is coming back because Bravo thinks we need Martina's reaction about Adriana and Guerdy. I love you, but we need more poker face lessons. I don't know. Let me see. Coffee Chat says, I think Martina approved Julia letting that out. I'm sure she did. I'm sure they had a conversation. She wouldn't want Martina blindsided by that coming out. RT says, so I didn't either. I don't drink beer. So what would I get from the experience? Isn't it like a tasting experience? I don't know. All right. Let's get to some callers because, like I said, I'm not going to be here for forever. All right. So let's bring up Toya first. Toya, what did you want to share in regards to the Real Housewives of Miami reunion?
Hi, Kempire.
Hey.
Happy travels to you.
Thank you.
Um, it's just so much, but I do want to say I think that Guerdy thought the ladies were going to be apologetic to her, and maybe that's why she wasn't prepared. But those ladies came through sitting on business or standing on business,
Yep.
and they are very much so alienating her. And I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't return. I wish that she had taken Adriana's advice and articulated herself. Even Andy didn't even get the purpose of the text messages. And she should have said the text message proved that Julia was lying. Okay, like she was making up stories and fake reasons to be mad at people. And
Yep.
Julia, now we see right through her, but I think a lot of people won't. And they'll say, oh, that she needs empathy. And all the, when they were backstage at the beginning to Alexia and Marisol, I need you. I need you. Like,
I want
girl,
you to.
yeah, like whatever she said, I was like, what is this? And I also want to be clear, nobody, I don't think, was coming for those children. They were
No.
coming for Julia as a white woman who we seen assault a black woman and throw microaggressions at her. And we're concerned for how are you going to raise two black boys
Mhm.
with how you're acting on TV? What are you doing in private? Okay. But oh, Guerdy, girl, I'm sorry, Guerdy, you were not prepared.
No. And the other side was.
Yes, they were. And I feel like production, I mean, I just started watching really this season. I watched a little bit last season, but I didn't know all them girls was throwing drinks all the time.
Well, some of that was
Like,
shown.
oh, well,
Mm,
unfortunately, Guerdy, like she got schooled, but we still support Guerdy because it was wrong. And again, nobody did anything nice for Guerdy to like, you know, support her beating cancer.
mhm.
I didn't like that.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Kempire.
Thanks, Toya. Have a good one. Let's bring up Ariana next. Ariana, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm good. I'm hoping you're enjoying your vacation.
I am.
I'm gonna keep it very quick because I just it just very much from the start to the end seemed like a great takedown. And I don't
Mm,
understand why Bravo still thinks that we like that or like that's something that's enjoyable to watch.
mm,
Um, I agree with the original caller or the first caller saying that, she thought everyone would be apologetic because that is what they were kind of saying in all their interviews and podcasts and whatnot.
mm,
So it did seem like a big switch up, and you're totally right about Larsa being that bulldog.
mm.
But yeah, it's just like it just seems like they're just pushing her out, and then also Julia's pattern of violence. Like that's all that this really showed me is that
Right?
Julia is a very violent, crazy person, and people should be aware for her. But yeah,
Which goes back to
I
what
am.
Gertie was saying. Like, that's
Mhm.
scary.
Yeah, exactly. And Guerdy was not wrong, and I also agree with Guerdy on that. They kept going back to the past, which is like that's already been litigated. That's what we already had those past reunions for. We're talking
Yeah.
about right now, and no one's changed their behavior from previous, is what Guerdy was saying, but she didn't say it very well. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Ariana,
yeah,
thank
I
you.
mean that's kind of all.
Thank you. Take care.
See ya.
Bye. All right. Sarah's backstage. We're going to bring Sarah up next. Oh, the backstage filled up. Sarah, what's going on?
Okay. Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually viewer viewing, but today I'll be Sarah, I guess. But Sarah's such a like, you know, it's like calling somebody Mary. Like there's so many Marys. Anyways, your skin is lit.
Thank you.
And the reason why it's lit, not only because of butter, hey, I took advantage of the promos, so
Yeah.
thank you. Um, but you don't drink. So people who drink alcohol, like, like look at Lisa from Real Housewives of Salt Lake.
Mm,
She like in the face and stuff, like without the makeup, that's why she's so like probably, but she drinks Pepsi all the time. But anyways, this show this week was, I mean, they could have just started the show from the bomb dropping at the end.
mm,
You know what I'm saying, with Julia. I don't first I'm really a part of the replay crew because I listen to all your old takes on Real Housewives of Miami. So that's why I started, like you said, at season 4.
mm-hmm,
But you know that soggy episode when they were out in the rain and she was like, "You teach me to see hearts and stuff."
mm-hmm.
It's not far fetched because they were very flirtatious. And I mean, she was like naked in the bathtub, splashing herself and
Mm-hmm.
everybody else in the Hamptons. So it's not far fetched. Plus, there was a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
Remember with the pickle and all that? Ugh. But
Yeah.
anyways,
That's
yeah,
true.
like it's not far fetched.
Even
So
though
it
Adriana denies it based on the preview for next week.
yes, she denies it. But we all saw the flirtation.
Yeah.
So even if it wasn't that you guys slept together, they were very intimate in front of each other. Like if Martina were there, like I don't think it would have been like that.
Mm.
So, and she's already been, you look at how much she be kissing everybody, just kissing everybody. I'm like, oof, I wouldn't want to be around her during the heavy COVID because, but as far as, um, so like one thing about you, Kempire Love, you have cultural sensitivity, and that's really important.
Mm.
And with Guerdy, as a person that's pursuing their second master's in counseling,
Mm.
I believe I see the traits of like ADHD, ADD.
Mm. We talked about
Um,
it. If you saw the live we did where we talked about it.
yeah, it's obvious and it makes sense because she, and also the traumatic events that she had to
Mm.
deal with coming to America, not knowing the language.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And so I think we should all like huddle around and
Uh-oh. You dropped out, Sarah. Someone probably called Sarah. It's all right, Sarah. You were running a little long. We do have a long line backstage. And callers, I can't promise I'm going to get to everybody. Let's bring up Chef Lorraine next. Chef Lorraine, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm great. I just want to wish you blessings on your safe travels
Thank
to
you.
and fro. Have a wonderful time, and
Thank
I
you.
love you.
Thank you.
Only thing I want to say about this dag nabbit show is, my God, it frustrates me so bad. I kind of disagree with the last caller. I believe Gertie is experiencing PTSD from
Mm,
her childhood.
mm,
And I believe that they are really trying to ice her out and off of this show slowly but surely. If
mm,
she comes back next year, especially if that doggone wheel is still there,
mm.
it's going to be more contention between the two of them. And I really think they kind of low key trying to ice Gertie out. That's the, I don't know why I feel that way, but that's the way I see it.
I mean, there's so many examples of it during the season.
Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. But I don't want to keep you, baby. I love you. Be safe
Thank you, Chef
and
Lorraine.
have a ball, okay?
I will. Thank you
All
so much.
right.
Have a good one.
You too, babe. Take care.
Bye. All right. We have Jenny backstage. We're going to bring Jenny up next. Jenny, what did you want to share?
I really Hi Kempire, first of all. How you doing?
Oh,
You
wow. How are
looking
you?
lovely.
Thank you.
But it was the episode was it was a little meh for me.
Mm,
It didn't really sit there and like first episodes they usually start coming out swinging and it didn't really feel like that for me. Like I
mm,
didn't get that that gist that I wanted until the end, towards the
mm,
end. They did make valid points about sitting there, as far as like talking with Lisa and you know her marriage, not marriage or whatever.
mm.
Like, but Larsa didn't need to be there. She could have just stayed her ass. I She could have stayed home. Really could have, because there was no point line. But she sit there and she was a vocal point for everybody else that had
Mm.
something going on besides herself, because there was really nothing going on for her. And who is that? Who is her new boyfriend? Is that another basketball dude?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know him.
Yeah, I don't know. And I watch sports. I watch sports
And you
just
don't even know
the
him.
best. And I don't know him, so I don't know. But it was just very bland for me. Like very
Live
bland.
chat.
But
For those in the live chat, let me know how you would rate the reunion part one. Go ahead.
like I said, it was very bland. I mean, like in Dirty, yeah, could have had some poster boards or whatever. She could have pulled a Lisa,
Mm.
had her receipts, and honestly, just like Julia and Adriana, I'm not that surprised
Me
about the
either.
bond. I'm not that surprised because it I thought everybody knew that they already had something going on. I thought it was just
Or at
nothing.
least dip their toes in each other at some point.
Something they did something because Adriana wouldn't be the way that she is with Julia, like, and being so compassionate about their friendship and everything, like, because there was something there other than a friendship.
Yeah.
But I just hope that we get better for next week
Yeah.
for part two of the reunion. That's all.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jenny, for calling in.
All right, love you.
Take care. All right. All right. I can't promise I'm gonna get to everybody. So I'm gonna try to get to as many people as I can because as you can see, it's pretty late here. It's all right. I came on, it was light out, now it's starting to get dark. So I would like to at least go get dinner, and it's getting pretty late here. Exactly, April. Scissoring. They were scissoring. For those that are in the live chat and the part of the replay crew, do you or do you not believe that something physical happened between Julia and Adriana? I definitely believe something happened. Again, when they said it at the end, I was like, are they just trying to make us believe that they slept together and really just slept in the same bed? But no, clearly she's talking about them being physical. And I was just like, I'm not shocked by that. Have we forgotten the first 2 seasons of the reboot? A lot of people already were thinking that. All right, let's bring up wait. Jenny, did you come up before Jenny? Okay, Jenny dropped out. Okay, that was before. Okay. Alexia is backstage. Alexia, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Oh, I'm so happy to talk with you. I'm following you since months. I adore you. I absolutely adore you.
Thank
And
you.
by the way, I would like to tell you, like, really thank you because, like, you are really like a safe space for Black women, especially with like Black women that lives like outside the U.S. Like, I always follow
Mm,
your recaps, everything. The way you advocate for Black women is absolutely amazing. So I adore you.
thank
By the way,
you.
let's get into business.
Oh,
Um, so so I don't know how to start. I felt the way Andy was talking about like the Guerdy and Julia situation, like he was like, okay, like can we just get over with this? You know what I mean? I mean, he
yeah.
really did not give a damn. I mean, like he was like literally like, okay, we have to discuss because the viewers were upset about that, but he really didn't care. I mean, he really should leave someone else deal with that. He already proved times after times that he's not the right person to deal with
Hmm.
this kind of situation.
Yep.
And I felt, well, Gertie, I was upset with Gertie because she was so unprepared. I saw like something like also Stephanie, she was making faces. I don't know if it was the edit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was
Well,
like, stop.
Alessia, I'll point out because we talk about this all the time. Please
Yeah.
understand, sometimes when they show someone's facial expression, doesn't necessarily mean that was the same facial
Yeah.
expression they were giving at that moment. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I did notice Stephanie's facial expressions. And if you saw Stephanie when she was on Watch What Happens Live, she basically wanted Gertie to get over it.
Yeah, I had that feeling. So I will give the benefit of the doubt, but I was
Hmm.
giving the side eye also like the edit, like kind of made it look like Gertie was like beyond help. You know what I mean? Like Adriana was trying to help her and they want to portray her as like, oh, she's beyond help. I mean, she's the problem. So definitely I feel like, I mean, and also like they brush it out so quickly. I mean, like what are we supposed to talk about like part two and part three of the reunion? I mean, Marisol and her fake marriage. I mean, like who cares? You know what I mean? I mean, I would have already spent a whole episode talking about this, you know, and
Yeah.
Alexia jumping in. I mean, like chiming in. I mean, it was the time for her to be quiet and like she cannot help like just being the center of the attention all the time. So yeah, it was a huge mess. Sidebar, Kempire, please watch Real Housewives of London. Is absolutely amazing.
I'm in the middle of watching it while I'm abroad, even though I could watch it when I was in the States, but I'm watching it now.
And please come back to London. Please come back
I
to
will.
London.
I do want to come back to London. I tried. I will say this. I could tell you guys now, I did try to come back to London this year. It just didn't work out.
All
But I will
right,
try to
all right.
next year.
Well, come in Europe. Come in Europe. I'm waiting for you.
Thank you so much, Alessia. Have a good one. Bye. All right. Let's bring Angel up next. Angel, what did you want to share about Real Housewives
Hey,
of Miami reunion?
hey, Kempire. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got to go spend those dollars that Kendra sent you in the super chat for dinner. So I will give the episode a 7, 7.5, just because of the world's second worst kept secret of Julia and Adriana behind Cardi B being pregnant. So we know they hooked up. I don't know I don't know to what extent. I don't know if they were cunnilingus sisters or whatnot, but they were definitely doing something. And let's not forget that. That's why she took her off of that dusty farm and brought her to TV. You don't do that for just a friend.
Is that it, Angel?
I think that's it. I'm gonna let it go because I know that you have a long line backstage. Enjoy your travels,
Thank you.
and no, nothing new for Diddy yet. They just added enhancements to the charges, so I hope he gets as much time as possible because we know he's a disgusting human. So,
Ooh, okay. Thank you for the update, Angel. Take care.
bye, Camp. Have a good weekend.
You too. I can't believe it's Friday. Like, where does the week go? All right. Let's bring up NYC DMP next. Hold on one second. NYC DMP, what did you want to share about the Real Housewives of Miami?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so with the ADHD and the Guerdy of all and the community, y'all, I love you so much. And here's the thing. When you've experienced chronic trauma, so everyone understands PTSD, right? Well, chronic trauma, it makes your brain actually recalibrate, like physically
Mm.
recalibrate to that of one of a neurodivergent person. So you may have been born, you're neurotypical, but with chronic trauma, and most of us have it, it can lend you into an ADHD brain. So I just want to
Oh.
say that for a while, and I hadn't been able to do it because I'm working all the time. But y'all, I love you all, and just give yourself grace and peace. You don't have to be a label. ADHD is not a bad thing. I was born with it, plus chronic trauma, plus I'm a Libra, so you know, it's a lot of mess.
It's your
But y'all,
season.
it's my season. My birthday's on Tuesday. But
Oh,
y'all,
happy early birthday.
give everyone grace for each other and understanding, like with chronic trauma, which most of us have survived, or we not be in this community together. I feel like that's a common thread. It,
Mm.
so Sarah and Chef Lorraine were both right, but just your brain restructures, and
Mm.
Gert has told us this in the way that you in theory you can come out of it and heal, but it's very very difficult, especially for those victims of a I'm gonna say victims, survivors, whatever, victims
Yeah.
of SAV, and really the mindfulness practice is the best evidence-based research can come up with. 75% of people can heal further with that. The CBT for those people are not true. Don't do that. Don't do the benzos. Don't do that because they're gonna trap you like that. But but Kempire with his Pilates and all this, I feel like what is it? Tai Chi is new belly wasting, is a belly flattening, like fab, but that stuff works. But it's because of the mindfulness practice, reconnecting yourself with the body. And even if you were to Google Schmoogle, YouTube, and put in uh, the science of breath, chapter
Mm.
8, and it will come up for you. You can lay on your bed, it will read to you how to breathe. And the
Mm.
first second, wow, I didn't realize how disassociated I was. The second thing would be, this is hard, especially if that's bad like me. But y'all, I pray that you all do that and take 20 minutes a day, the science of breath, chapter 8, practice, lay
Mm.
down, bed, get comfy, hand over heart, hand over tummy, and just really work with that and see what comes up. Journal it, put it down, whatever comes up for you. But y'all, I love you. I've been saying this for weeks. Thank you so much, Kempire. Where my grandpa told me we're gonna go meet up together. He's passed away, so that's where I'm going to meet him in later days. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, NYC DMP. She provided a lot of new perspectives in regards to the PTSD and the ADHD of it all. April says, my therapist had to explain that to me about my brain recalibration and shifting, forcing myself to go back to the old me. We really have some really good conversations here on the channel because I think a lot of us don't know these things. So the more that people share their personal stories, so thank you for those of you that share your personal stories. We learn. We all end up learning, and it's okay to say that you don't know or you don't understand. Kay says, Andy wanted Guerdy to accept the apologies, in quotes, and move on. It seemed like a prerequisite for Guerdy coming back next season. I feel like it's a prerequisite for all of them. You see him do that all the time in regards to, are we able to conflict and resolve? Conflict and resolve. That's the whole premise of Real Housewives, apparently. Tasman says, 100% agree, caller. Andy and the rest of the cast were definitely forcing Guerdy to just get over it. And the reason is because they don't value her or believe she has a right to her feelings. Yep. Kendra, thank you so much for another Let me shimmy for Kendra, because Kendra's been throwing the dollars at me. I can't even shimmy anymore. Kendra says, thank you for the live. Enjoy your vacation and dinner. It's almost time for Ashley Darby's horrible singing. That's on Sunday. It made me think, I'm like, wait, what day is it? That's on Sunday. Stay tuned, guys. I can't promise you that the recap will be Monday, but at some point next week, we will do our Real Housewives of Potomac recap. I've already seen some of the previews. I've seen the premiere party interviews. Wait a second. Monique Samuels did not even go to the premiere party. Was she too busy for that too? Oh gosh. I mean, they said that she had a good season though. King of Kings, thank you so much for the super chat. King of Kings says Miami needs a cast shakeup. Get rid of Alexia, Marisol, and Julia. They could bring Lisa Milan and her girls. I'm from Miami, and them girls are fire. Well, Lisa doesn't live in Miami anymore. She does go back to Miami. I definitely think they should get rid of Marisol. And I like Marisol. You guys know I've liked Marisol. However, I do feel like she's the cancer of the group. Julia can go too. Julia can go. But I've been saying that. I'm just never here for Julia. Thank you so much, King of Kings, for the super chat. Guys, you can also support just by liking today's video. I'm going to take these last couple of calls and then call it a night. It might be afternoon where you are, but stay tuned. I will report on Diddy later once we have the finalization of his sentencing today. Okay, so make sure that you're subscribed and your notifications are on. Let's bring up, Kitty Meow. I'm going to bring you up after April, but it says device is not connected, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to come up. All right, April, what did you want to share?
Good afternoon, Kempire. I hope you're enjoying your vacation. And I know you have 2 Aprils in the chat. So I'm the April Aries. That's how we'll probably distinguish each other because my birthday is in April. But I feel like I couldn't even watch the reunion because I just felt like they were gaslighting Guerdy. And how are the ladies supposed to move forward if Guerdy isn't able to articulate herself in the way that she needs to? And I think maybe why it came out so jumbled is when you're dealing with half of that couch plus the host. Guerdy probably had a lot going on in her head. And so that's why it probably came out as like she didn't know what she was saying, but she does. And as a person with a Pisces Mercury placement, I don't know what her Mercury placement is, but just a little astro, talking there. You can perfectly make yourself clear and people just will not understand me, even though I've literally said 1 + 1 is 2 and they'll get 8.
Yeah.
And Julia having those kids and still having the lack of cultural awareness, emotional intelligence, it doesn't look good, because how are you adopting, Black boys and you're not understanding how you're affecting someone from their community? And I don't want to see Miami go like Beverly Hills, where they iced out, good characters, and then, we're left with this. They really need to do better. Enjoy the rest of your trip, Kempire. Have a good day.
Thank you, April. The Aries, April. Okay. Kitty Meow is backstage. We're going to bring them up next. Kitty Meow.
Hi, I had to adjust my privacy settings to allow it to have my mic just for you, though. I was wondering why no one holds Larsa accountable for being like such a nasty piece of work and just kind of a terrible human being. But I think it's because there's nothing anyone can say that would make her self-reflect or humble. I don't mean to be a hater or a bully, but she makes me feel like such a hater.
She was definitely giving. Self-reflection requires depth, and she has none.
Yeah. I had something else to say, but I fully forgot. So, but thank you. I hope you have a good trip.
Thank you so much, Kitty Meow, for calling in. All right. I want to thank everyone for calling in. Thank you to everyone that sent in super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps. We appreciate all the support, but you can also support freely by liking the video, sharing the video, telling a friend to tell a friend about the things we cover here. We don't just talk about Real Housewives, especially if you're new to the channel. We talk about everything in pop culture. I will have a Diddy update for you guys probably later on this evening. I still want to gather. It's more than just understanding, how many years, months that he may or may not get. It's everything leading up to it. That's why they're still in court, displaying everything. I believe he also presented a video of him crying over Kim Porter, his children. He's written a letter to the judge. I mean, he's got to do everything. This is his case. He's facing years behind prison. So we will get you updated. So stay tuned. This was a members only live chat. So I do want to say thank you to our members. Some of you have been members for a few months. Some of you have been members for a few years. We appreciate your monthly support. You help us keep the lights on in the studio and abroad. Okay. We appreciate it. A shout out to our members and subscribers that are watching the replay. And for those that are watching in the bushes in the replay or here during this live chat, we appreciate you guys as well. But don't forget to like the video. I won't know. Liking helps more of my content show up on your Explorer page. But subscribing will help that as well. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to everyone for being here. I will see you all in the next one. Again, for those that are waiting for my Real Housewives of Orange County recap, if I have time over the weekend, I will do it. Either way, I will do it at some particular point. I have not watched the episode yet. I prioritized this particular one to talk about because I was like, this is the one that we're really interested in. But stay tuned. I will do it at some particular point. All right. All right. I appreciate you all being here. Everyone have a great rest of your afternoon, morning, evening. Not sure what time it is where you are. It is nighttime where I am. Nighttime. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much for watching and for listening to our podcast, fam. Don't forget to subscribe to the Kempire podcast. I also dropped the Kempire After Dark live from Philly exclusively for our Club Kempire members on the Apple podcast. So make sure to check that out if you've been wanting to hear that was our very first show. So even if you came to any of the other shows, that was our very first show. So you can see the evolution of what the summer tour was. And head on over to houseofkempire.com for the merch. The merch. So if you wanted some of the tour merch, including Are You Okay? Merch is now available. Anyway, again, thank you all for watching and for listening.
Here we go now.